So this will be the last review video I make on this Massey Ferguson 2956a. I'm going to point out the things I really do like about the machine and explain why I'm getting rid of it. So let's just start off here. First off, with this header, I really like this pickup header. It's really nice, wide pickup header, easy to access. You know, everything about it is really easy to get to, maintain on it. The gauge wheels, all your gauge settings are back here, and it's hydraulic pickup. But this, I mean, you just can't go wrong with this big heavy steel roller. That's a huge help. Just tremendous help. Very nice pickup header. Easy to access the cam bearings. You pull this plate off. I mean, it's so simple. This header is probably the simplest header I've seen as far as access and maintenance. That's one of the big things I'm really gonna miss on this machine. It's just how well that header was really put together. Your push bar, very stout, heavy built push bar, works. There's no chains, anything like that. Just nice hydraulic cylinder, pushes it out of the way. You know, it's better than the Deere push bar. Really is. Some guys really like, I've seen the bail ramps. Massey offers the bail ramp. I didn't have it on this one, but I like the push bar. Just such a nice push bar. Overall, I think that the machine is very well built as far as the frame components. These have a Torflex axle in them. Super nice ride. Really like that. I mean, just the simplicity of it is just amazing. We'll go back over to this side and we'll start. I cannot say enough how much I really like that pickup header and that roller wind guard on there. There's your tension cylinders, grease banks. Everything's got grease banks. It's easy to maintain this machine. Top roller has a grease bank. The machine I'm going to, I don't think the top roller is greasable. The hinge, the tailgate is greasable. I mean, it's just I think it's just a fantastically built machine. So that's what you're gonna ask, why did I get rid of it? Just too much little stuff is going wrong with it. I mean, we'll start. There's the gearbox in here. I had this machine for 2 years and the gearbox went out of it. We changed the oil on it, did the service intervals, gearbox just went out. This shaft here was completely just eat up inside of there. That was at, man, 3,400 bales. 3,400 bales that gearbox went out. Unacceptable. It's just truly unacceptable that thing went out that early. Just ridiculous that gearbox went out. And which is crazy, because I sent this machine in, and you know, it's their word against mine. The machine was having the net wrap issues that I brought up in my last video. They called me up and said, oh, we'll make it right, you know, send it in. I said, well, we'll send it in this winter, because they ended up having a little job for it. I said, just go through the machine. You know, Deere and AGCO, they all offer like the 360 or so many point inspection. Get the machine. They had it for a while. Get the machine back. First bale in the field, we know that thing's just slopping around there. They never even checked it. Of course, by then it was 12 days out of warranty, naturally, and called them up and like, oh well, you didn't tell us you wanted that checked. Really just pissed me off to no point. Honestly, just I'm tired of their bullshit games. It's just ridiculous. Really upset about that. Next thing that happened, this bearing went out at what would that be? 400, 600. There's 3,800 bales. This bearing went out. You'll see that on there. When this bearing goes out, this shaft in here, that's not part of a shaft. That's just slid on with two bearings in there, and it bolts to this clutch. And honestly, now that I know how they have that, not very impressed with that. Just not super impressed with how they did that. Those bearings will go out because, of course, no one stocks those bearings. So the seal on this side was cooked. I have the bearings. At some point we greased them up, and they were fine. They seemed fine, but that'll be the next part that goes out on this machine. This shaft just kind of moves up and down. Other than that, I mean, it was super simple to work on. I mean, it really wasn't too bad of a deal. We're gonna need a new chain here, but you got to pull this shaft off, and that was kind of a pain in the ass. That's pretty loose. It needs to be tightened up again, but it needs a new chain. It just, you get kind of tired of saying, well, let's get this fixed, and when it doesn't get fixed, then it's, well, let's just put it on someone else, and whatever. Maybe I didn't say what I told them I meant to say, but I highly doubt that. These things are a joke. They break like all the time. Those are both brand new. Both of them are broken gas cylinders. That's a joke. It just really is. That was just a joke. The net wrap system on this, I like it better than any other ones I've run. The only other ones I've run are Deere's. A lot simpler as far as feeding. There's no little brakes or anything like that. The Deere has a brake, and I just always seem to have problems with them. This seems to be better. This was replaced under warranty because they did a piss poor job welding that. It's just, I spent almost $50,000 on a round baler, and things just taking a dump. So they replaced that. The other thing that happens on here is this plate, the net pan. When it builds up with material right there, over time it'll kind of flex on that as that door closes. Well, the last bale I put through the machine as I finished the field in December, that net pan just ripped off. So that's why this went to the dealer. They replaced that. They replaced this. Because I brought this to attention in a video, and they said, hey, let's get you fixed, and it was under warranty. But I said I want this thing to go through your service deal and find all the problems. Well, yeah, that's just a whole nother story of disappointment, honestly. Just real disappointment. The guys who work on the machines are great. But, when something doesn't happen, there just seems to be a lot of backpedaling. So, oh well. I don't own it now. The other thing is, the thing I don't like about it is to get this thing to feed net wrap. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you got to get out of the tractor 6 times. It's so simple. It's supposed to be so simple. You just take that net and put it in a little ball and shove it down past that roller, and most times it'll go. Sometimes you're in and out of the tractor 6 times. Other guys I've talked to had these machines, same thing. I've had a few electrical issues, on and off. They're very random. And when you start having that and it doesn't want to run, that's no fun. Feeding super dry hay in this thing is horrible. You got to have a big windrow, big fluffy windrow. If you have just a little piddly windrow, it falls apart in the baler, but it does that in the deers too. But we went to a soft core kit on this, and it made all the difference in the world. Way better machine after we put that on here. So, but it still has it's still hit and miss on a few things on feeding. It can be complicated, but really the big thing is the machine is 3 years old, and AGCO told me the most they could sell it for was $26,000, and that's what they were going to buy it for. That's pretty sad. 4,400 bales, resale value is $26,000. Man, that sucks. There's no equity in the machine at that point. Because if you're making payments on it, if it's not paid for, there's no equity. That's horrible. That's just a joke. They're not worth shit. I think this one has probably run a lot better than most of them I've heard about. I've heard some horror stories about these things. And then some guys love them. I love this machine. I think it makes a better round bale every single day of the week than a deer baler. But if all the little crap is shutting you down and you can't do that, well, then that's your problem. I love the auto cycle on it. Fantastic. If they would, I think what happened is they started out with a hell of a good machine, great design on the machine, and then they tried saving money. And the places that they cut the cost is where this machine failed. I think if AGCO hadn't cut any cost on this machine, and if it was a $60,000 baler and it didn't have any of the bullshit issues that it has, man, that hands down I think would have been the best machine on the market. But they started cutting cost, and I think that's really what got them. Very, very upset about the whole thing. I really, really am. And that's one reason I decided just to trade it off. I'm afraid that if it burned to the ground, and if you're losing bearings at 3,000 bales, and it burns to the ground, my insurance company's going to say, hey, this thing isn't worth any money. We're looking at them on the market, and they're only worth this much, and this is all we're going to pay you. And if you owe more than that on them, you're kind of in trouble. And thankfully, I got a good enough deal on it that I didn't lose money on the machine. I made money on the machine, but when I bought this machine, I wanted to buy a baler that was going to go to 20,000 bales reliably, day in, day out, going to the field and work and make me money. And this year, this thing has started costing money. Really started costing money, and it's just I don't think this thing's going to go to 20,000 bales, and the resale value shows that. It shows that they're not going to do it. People don't have any confidence in them anymore, and I'm one of them. And I know I have said this is the greatest machine ever, and honestly, I will stand by what I said at that time. I'll still stand by what I say, that I think it's a better design overall than a lot of machines, and I think it makes a better bale than the deer balers, which that's what I went and bought, is a new deer baler. I think the pickup header is miles ahead of a deer baler, and I'll touch on that when we get to it, but that's really why I wanted to point out this header while I still had this machine. But you know, there's just some things that are just a joke. This is a joke right here. I mean, that's just a joke. If they were going to do that, they should have brought this out, put another bearing on it, give this thing some support, because it just wobbles. This is a joke. When you really start looking at it, this shaft it's loose. You know, that's where it's supported, is this gearbox. It has one bearing in here that supports it, and you're pulling. You have all that pressure on this thing. You're pulling, feeding that bale in here, and it, you know, when this thing runs, I mean, this thing just sits there and goes like that. That's a joke. Really is. You know, it's pretty upsetting. Pretty upsetting. Because I still think this baler is amazing. You know, they went to the C1000 monitor. Once I kind of got everything figured out in the screen, I really liked it. Deere still has the same old brown junk of crap that they've always had. I know it doesn't make any difference in the performance of the machine, but you know, come on, we're almost 2020. Be nice to see a little bit nicer like what they have, but I guess if the machine runs, they don't have to do that. So anyways, I'm gonna just kind of leave you there. If you're gonna buy one of these, you know, I think if you're just doing a little bit here and there for yourself, they're great. But if you're gonna go build a business on one, you need to be very cautious, because you may get one of the better ones, you may get a lemon, and boy, if that, what really kind of made my decision is the simple fact that this thing's losing bearings now, and their resale value is horrible. So if this thing burns to the ground and my insurance company goes off what their resale value is and not what I'm saying it's worth or what it should be worth, you know, a brand new Deere with 4,500 bales on it, still $41,000. This thing's 26 on a good day. You know, trade in, they're wanting 18, give you 18 in places. Heston is at least giving you what it's reselling for, 25, 26. So, you know, that can get you in a bind if you're not careful. And that's why I just said the heck with it. I'm tired of fighting with it. I'm tired of calling up the dealer and saying, hey, it's got problems, and then just get out the checkbook, spend more money on a brand new machine. So that's my take on it. I traded it. I'm not happy about trading it. I really wanted this to be the baler I kept to 20,000, 30,000 bales. But this is not going to be it. So it's kind of a sad deal, because, you know, it's what I wanted. It's what I liked. I was very excited when I bought it, and you know, when it runs, I love baling with it. I absolutely love baling with it. It's phenomenal. It's so fun to bale with this machine when it runs, when it's not having an issue or a electrical problem or not feeding net wrap. You know, once you get that net wrap in there to start the roll, never had an issue. I mean, it feeds that roll. Never had a problem. But getting it started, make you pull your hair out. Make you pull your hair out. So, yeah, I'm not very happy about going to the Deere baler, but it's the next best choice. So, anyways, stop rambling on. Got you here for 20 minutes. I guess you'll see the new 560M when it shows up. I'm going to pull that net wrap out of there, and no point in giving that away.